10 years after the original Metroid hit shelves and practically invented a genre, and like 4 years since Metroid 2 took that formula and experimented with it further, it left fans wondering, where the is a new game? Well, according to Yoshio Sakamoto, they wanted to wait until a true action game was needed, and also for a console to really set the stage for Samus's grand return. And apparently the SNES was the perfect console for this. Well, kinda. There are a few conflicting reports about how this game got its start. With one report I read said that Makoto Kano, the man who created Samus, practically begged for a new game to be made. Either way though, the development had a bit of a learning period at first since the team didn't have any experience with the SNES's infrastructure, especially with how it was so different from the NES's. But after learning what they needed to, they set out to really evolve the series with something that could be comparable to a movie. Which is a pretty lofty expectation, but considering that this game would go on to become, maybe one of the best games ever made, maybe they didn't really set their sights high enough. Then again, this game was almost cancelled like 3 times due to it being so big, so... Super Metroid. Now this is where things get good, and I mean good. Like the games before were fantastic, but this one is on a whole new level. Super Metroid is constantly put on the pedestal as one of the greatest games ever made, which I guess it shares with a lot of other games because, we're humans and we have biases and opinions and shit like that. But when there's smoke, there's gotta be a fire, and there is a good reason that this game is still as celebrated as it is. So let's get into it. Super Metroid does something that plenty of other Super Nintendo games did, which was essentially taking the NES original and remixing it into a new title, with new mechanics, visuals, music, the whole shebang. But at its core, keeping the original NES game spirit. Hell, some of these are considered remakes instead of new titles. Super Metroid is no different, not just taking the core of the original, which was exploring an open alien environment, but literally bringing back the same planet as the original with new ruins and places that had to be rebuilt after your adventure last time. Not to mention completely brand new areas for Samus to explore, like a crashed ghost ship, or an underground ocean that's found in between the corridors of the last game's world. The visuals this time really take the originals, which was pretty limited detail, and flesh it out to be more lively. Literally, some of the ground breathes in and out, which is so unnerving. The detail on the sprites are amazing, the colors are so gorgeous, and Samus's animation and suit design is extremely well crafted. All of the enemies new and returning are so monstrously detailed, though you may want to consider turning on the scan lines this time around to get the full effect of what you're looking at. Yeah, no pixel perfect this time, these blurred lines are staying. They give the game a lot more texture, more girth, more realism. Don't be afraid of these things, kids, they are how these games were meant to be seen. Not to shit on newer stuff like pixel perfect or whatever, it's fine enough for some titles, but for others, well, you're just kinda missing out. Gameplay-wise, we have a lot of new additions, including new power-ups like the Charge Beam, which, yeah, I always think is in the first game, but no, this is where it gets its start. The X-Ray Scope, the Grapple Beam, the gorgeous Gravity Suit, pretty much all of the mainstay power-ups are introduced here, along with the return of some of her better upgrades from the last 2 games. Get fucked, Spider Ball! Oh, and don't forget the ultimate fuck you, the Power Bomb. A miniature nuke that's not as effective in boss fights as I wish it was, but nevertheless, it's pretty awesome. And I love the cute little 8-bit Samus in those tutorial boxes. What a way to flex how far the devs have come. There's also a bunch of unrequired power-ups as well, which can give you some more replay value, plus you can turn off and on certain power-ups in the menu, in cases where you would want to play a Varia suit only run, or maybe try out some of the strange power bomb combos, which I had no idea were in this game till like my 6th playthrough, because why the hell would I turn off all but like 2 beams and then use a power bomb? But then again, I'm not really missing much. These are cool, they're just not really useful outside of the ice one for like that one section. But hey, I admire the experimentation and the player choice. And you know, that's what Super is really known for. It's a very open-ended game where you, the player, can break it into hundreds of thousands of different ways to get to places earlier or skip whole sections entirely. It's what's led it to be so popular for speedruns. There is a new method to beating this game discovered every other month, and that's crazy since this game's been played for almost 30 years now. That is so, like, the fuck? I think Jeremy Parrish of US Gamer said it best. Super Metroid is a game that you can return to time and again and always come away with some fresh insight or observation. I've played this game over a dozen times and I always find something new to marvel at. Whether it's this little turtle family in Meridia, the way Crocomyre's air bubbles follow you to where a skeleton is gonna pop out after his fight, or whoever this corpse is right before like, who is this guy? We'll probably never know, but you know what, man? You look cool. I like his armor. He's pretty nice. The game controls are a bit, I don't know, odd, I guess. I recommend changing them in the system settings before playing, unless you want to use X to shoot and B to run, which is pretty fucking barbaric. And how can anyone play this game with item switching on select? That is so out of the way. I always change that to the X, but... Wait, what the fuck is moonwalk? But you know, credit where credit is due, this game having these settings and a language option in 1994 is really cool. Gameplay wise, Super Metroid is pretty close to perfect. If I were to make, like, you know, some changes, I'd probably change how item switching works and make the wall jumps simpler, though that does have these cute little animals to show you, which, you know, I thought was pretty neat. I'd fix the space jump to be more like Metroid 2's. I'd, you know, have an option to skip that opening cutscene if you wanted. Maybe add a health station before Phantom. Let me think, is there anything else I'd change? I would cut Meridia completely out of the game. Seriously, I get slower water movement, but the fucking water quicksand combo is gross. And I hate how this touchy little just drags me all the way to Timbuktu whenever it feels like I had places to go, okay? But yes, gameplay wise, Super is pretty much close to perfect as a game can get. And if you're interested, there are some ROM hacks out there that fix things to work a little bit better. And some even add a widescreen, which is gorgeous. I just wish I could figure out how to get it to work. It's probably not all that complicated. I just probably didn't follow the steps along. I just had a really hard time with it. I gave up on it. It looks beautiful though. The music is like, okay, do I need to say it? It's wonderful. Like, genuinely, it's so atmospheric and kind of scary. They really wanted to turn up the subtle horror elements with this game, and considering how this more foreboding atmosphere has inspired countless indie devs to get as dark as their dreams desire, I'd say they did a good job. If I had to pick a theme as my favorite, I'd probably say Brinstar. That jungly cavern vibe is just so unique. I mean, I'm half expecting Donkey Kong and the fucking Predator to pop out and start duking it out in this place. It's so cool. And it really acts as a nice theme for the game. Another one I really appreciated was the fact that Metroid 2's opening theme plays at the end of the credits, which really ties this game in more with that story as opposed to the original. Which, you know, duh, of course Metroid 3 would take more from Metroid 2 in a story sense, but I don't know, I appreciate it. And with that, it's time for story. Skip here to avoid all story spoilers for Am I really doing the spoiler tag now? Fuck it, let's just do it. Skip here to avoid all story spoilers for Super Metroid. I know you don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck either, but I just feel like doing it. After defeating the space pirates on planet Zebes and wiping out all but one Metroid on their home world, and a bunch of other shit I guess happened apparently. Samus is now taking her surrogate child to some trusted researchers to see if the baby Metroid can be used for the betterment of galactic society. After making sure everything is all good and her baby is nice and comfy, she decides to go get the milk for a while and let the nerds do their work. Samus is in her ship looking up her next bounty and everything is chill, there's nothing bad going on. She turns the corner onto her next adventure and... oh god damn it! A distress call is sent from the station. She was gone for like 2 seconds and everything went to shit. She makes her way back to the station only to find the corpses of the dorks just lying dead on the floor. E for everyone, my ass. She runs into the nursery room to see, hey girl, we literally just killed you. Also, Valley girl? What happened to the pirate accent? Oh, that was just part of the cybernetics. I'm all natural now. Oh wow, girl boss, you woke up like that, cool beans. How about you save me the trouble and drop my kid and then kill yourself? The order doesn't much matter. Girl, you know I'm like immortal or something, maybe. I'm taking the baby by, no! Samus escapes the exploding station, which, yep, escape sequence right off the back, that's different. But as she gets back to her ship, she decides to follow the space pterodactyl back to where it all began. Planet Zebes. She lands on the planet and begins her search by traveling through some nostalgic places, including a destroyed version of Torian and the same room where the first game began. She even gets the morph ball in the same place, though this time she seems to be monitored much more closely by the returning space pirates. Yarg! I mean, yes! After some exploring, she discovers a similar gate statue as last time, though unlike last time, she's got more bad guys to deal with than just Ridley and Kraid. One is Phantom, an undead squid thing, which I'm not really sure how we kill him, but we do. And Dragon, a mother bug thingy that you can fry like a fucking catfish in front of her nasty little clutch of cunts. Ooh, brutal. And there's also like Crocomire, who's actually not like a part of the statue or anything, we just sort of kill him. I mean, there's some other bosses that are this way, but I think Crocomire is just an innocent creature that we murder. I mean, we technically started the fight, and he's just 100% defending himself. He really doesn't even attack Samus if you think about it. But either way, we throw him an acid that melts him to his fucking bones. Whew, brutal. Kraid comes back, but he's kind of a pushover to be honest. Nothing more to really say about— holy fuck! Love that I use the Godzilla roar, since they actually use a lot of Godzilla and other stock sci-fi sound effects for this game. It really makes you feel like you're watching an old 80s space movie, which, yeah, this game takes a lot of inspiration from those. Nope. What? Not another word. Do you know how hard it is to make a fucking story? I know, man, I just know. No. No. This is a cute little homage thing we're doing with Alien and Metroid, okay? No more of this weird shit, no more of this, oh, you stole it from— no. No. Alright, man, jeez, fuck. But anyways, Samus makes it to Ridley's lair and it's go time. Hi girl, let's do this. The fight is this really fun war of attrition. For all intents and purposes, this is the real final boss of the game, and it is a knuckle-down, drag-out fight between Samus and her greatest rival. It's not my favorite Ridley fight in the series, but god bless. In a gameplay sense, it's really good. Just make sure you're prepared, because this fight is super tough. And with that final blow being dealt, Ridley is defeated. Please tell me he's gone for good. Well, yeah, this Ridley is. Oh, this Ridley! Well, after Samus heads to the room behind the fight pit, she sees that the baby is missing from its holding capsule. Oh, shit. It's pretty obvious that the pirates got the baby to try and make more Metroid clones from the last living sample. Samus even knows this due to her encounters with the rejected clones, the Mocktroids. Which, you know, are pretty harmless, but needed to be wiped out nonetheless. She's going scorched earth with the pirates and their experiments. There is no telling what they could have done by, oh god. Samus walks through a hall of enemies drained dry of all of their energy, including one of those evil Chozo statues from earlier, still kind of confused on what their deal is. But there's not a lot of time to wonder as the baby appears and attacks Samus. The baby is engorged and mutated after all the pirates' experiments, which is, kind of odd since they only got it like 2 hours ago, but fuck me, is it hungry! Going as far to chow down on its own mother without realizing. Till it hears the beep of Samus's low health alarm, snapping it out of its frenzy. The baby, now ashamed of what it's done, runs away, with Samus helpless to go after it. Though she is relieved to see that the baby is okay, but she doesn't have a lot of time to try and figure out how to help it, as she's now within the bowels of a brand new Torian, made complete with the successful Metroid clones. As she fights her way through the end, she ends up engaged in another shitty fight with a rebuilt Mother Brain, but it ends rather quickly. Thank God, am I right, boys? Let's get the baby and get out of... Mother Brain reveals her trump card, a giant kaiju mecha body which is invincible to all of Samus's equipment. She beats Samus down to her last breath and charges one more beam to completely decimate Samus. But there's one thing she didn't consider. That little beeping noise. Holy God, the baby with the save! I made the joke last time, not even thinking about how they do the exact same thing here in the Climax of Super. The pirates have been playing with fire for too long without getting burned, and here is the fucking inferno. After the baby deals with Mother Brain, it starts to transfer its energy to its dying mother, hoping to save off her demise. But unbeknownst to the baby, Mother Brain had a backup generator that just kicked on, bringing the demon back to life. After making sure that Samus is okay, the baby makes a Hail Mary play at Mother Brain, only to be shot down, dissipating its body onto Samus's. They say in nature that there is a universal rule, from the tiniest of species to the largest. Whatever you do, don't fuck with a mother's baby. Samus, using the baby's latent power, develops the Hyper Beam, a rainbow-colored fuck you to Mother Brain that she is hopelessly unprepared to deal with. I really should have done these videos during Pride Month. Well, after eliminating her enemy, the whole of Torian begins to self-destruct. But this time, it's not just the base, it's the whole planet about to explode. Samus massacres the last few pirates as she makes a mad dash out of the planet, only stopping to save the tutorial animals from earlier. Probably could have saved the innocent turtles too, but I guess I don't know how to fly a ship. Brutal? Samus makes it just in time to escape the planet's destruction, and then we get a mission complete. Kinda wish we got to see her feelings about the baby's recent sacrifice, but hey, that'll come later, so I guess I can wait. The story of Super Metroid is kind of superfluous like it was for the first game, but at the same time, it still respects the stories of before, especially 2, which, as I said last time, is probably the most important. I like the story of Super Metroid. It continues the story from the last 2 games in a satisfying way, with my only real complaint being that we don't get a scene of Samus mourning her child. But again, that's kind of what the rest of the series is here for. For better and worse. Super Metroid is a monumentous game and probably my favorite. Its gameplay evolved what it meant to be a 2D adventure game and speedrunning in general. Its visuals are stellar, its music is atmospheric. It's about as close to a perfect game as you can get. If you're interested, I highly recommend it, but you could probably figure that out by just watching the rest of the video. Here's something that I want to figure out. How could they ever remake this game? Or does it even need one? No is probably what a lot of people will say, and I can't help but agree. But at the same time, I think we've seen plenty of games that people didn't think needed a remake, then get one, and it either benefits the game in a meaningful way or it's just as good and can stand alongside it. I think the latter would be good for Super. Either do a remaster with HD 2D visuals, or maybe do Dread's visual style instead. Gameplay-wise, you can't change shit, except for like 1 or 2 things that most people don't like, and that's most people. Glitches, exploits, everything needs to be as it was or nobody will like it. Basically the same damn game with new visuals, new music, and like 1 or 2 minuscule changes. Or they can do a complete reimagining, maybe like a 2D, 3D combo with new areas and gameplay stuff, but with the original game's atmosphere. Or maybe do it like a third or first person shooter. Could you imagine Kraid in a first person perspective? Oh my god. That would literally be the coolest thing ever. Either way though, they have to have that prerequisite bonus fight with Ridley. Okay, I'm about to get a little crazy, but stick with me here. I'm thinking that after you defeat him the first time, instead of exploding, he falls into the magma with one bony arm reaching out, sort of like with what happened with Crocomire, including having Samus walk away in victory. But unlike Crocomire, when the skeleton pops up, it's still alive, catching Samus by surprise. We can call him like Dry Ridley or something, with him being a fusion of Ridley and Phantom, who possessed Ridley in the final moments of his life. Or, you know, we could do another robot. I mean, I wouldn't put it past Ridley to have another one of those things made in his image. He's got a fucking statue of himself with a health pack right under it, making it so that Samus had to see it. What a vain little shit. Boo, biatcha.